Welcome back, everyone. SandDAO podcast number 48. This time we will be doing a text based interview with Hishmad. This is the 10th delegate interview that we have done this week. And Hishmad is from Indonesia. The scope of the talk today is to do a text based meet and greet with Hishmad and a learning opportunity for SandFam voters to understand Hishmad's approach to voting and decide if Hishmad is the right delegate for you. Disclaimer, I do not represent the Sandbox Game or the Sandbox DAO Foundation. I am not your financial or legal advisor. Nothing I say is to be taken as financial or legal advice. When I say the word SIP, I mean Sandbox Improvement Proposal. When I say the word DAO, I mean Decentralized Autonomous Organization. And when I say the word SandFam, I mean the Sandbox community who participates in the people, product, and purpose of the Sandbox ecosystem. That ecosystem looks a little bit like this, covered in episode 31. People, everything from gamers to the SandFam team, product, everything from the game client to the DAO, and the Sandbox white paper, which was originally done in 2020, mentioning the purpose of the Sandbox, but also greatly clarified by the co-founders Sebastian Bourget, Arthur Madrid, and chairman of Animoca Brands, Yat Su. All that together comes together to equal and create a thriving ecosystem, of which today our episode is about the DAO Delegates, one such group of people within the people sector of the ecosystem. The Scoreboard and the Checkbook have not moved as of yet. That's because the Sandbox DAO admin team is hard at work ensuring the delegation system goes fully online. We're still at 2.3 million of our 15.5 million sand budget spent. And the DAO admin team has articulated that they will return to reviewing SIPs on November 27th, this coming Wednesday. DAObase.ai has not changed. And the road to the DAO all began May 28th, announced via a Medium article. Then, if we fast forward to September 10th, when the Sandbox DAO admin team opens up delegation applications, it closed sometime later, and then on November 13th, about 9 days ago, the 12 delegates were announced. One such delegate that we're interviewing via text today is Hishmad. I'm your host, Lanzer. I'm host of the SandDAO podcast. I'm also president of the Meta Worlds group. We've published 2 games, one of which is Floor Droppers in Alpha Season 4 at 0.0. The other is Game Maker Fund 2023 project, and that's called Lava Defense. And both are available as mini games within the sandbox. Let's get to the questions. So the first question to Hishmad was, can you please share a little bit about your background? Hishmad responded from Indonesia, and Hishmad's website, it's captioned, a software engineer with a hidden artist's soul, has done microservices and smart contract specialist in fintech and DeFi. And Hishmad wrote, I've been passionate about gaming since childhood, starting with an Atari 400 home computer at the age of 9. Let's take a look at what that looks like. So here is the Atari 400 home computer. Looks super, super old. Little joystick there. Joystick. Has a keyboard. Doesn't have a monitor, but that's probably where you put the cartridge, right there at the top. Some of you who are old enough to remember what a cartridge is. Yeah, you can see some of the cartridges. So that was Hishmad's first computer at the age of 9. This early fascination, Hishmad continues to write, this early fascination with games sparked my interest in programming, which I've been pursuing for over 40 years. That's question number 1. Question 2, when did you become SandFam? So if we take a look at Hishmad's profile, you'll see it says microservices specialist, smart contract, Node.js, and Golang as the about. There's no experiences or land on this wallet? Hishmad wrote and answered the question. I joined SandFam community in 2022 when I purchased a doggy NFT and started playing games in the sandbox. Hishmad also gave me an alternative account. Nusiverse is the name of the account. And here, same profile picture, dancing Snoop Dogg NFT. And then here you can see there's a land and some assets. So not only a landowner, but also an avatar owner. Okay, question number 3. What has been your involvement in the Sandbox community? Hishmad wrote, while I haven't been actively involved in the SandFam community yet, I'm eager to contribute and learn from others. I believe my entrepreneurial and programming or gaming experience can be useful to the community. Question 4. What entrepreneurial, programming, and gaming experience are you bringing with you? Hishmad wrote, I have a vision. I have a vision for leveraging technology to enhance accessibility within the entrepreneurial space. For instance, I envision developing or contributing to e-commerce platforms akin to Amazon or Alibaba, tailored specifically for our community. This would facilitate seamless trading of goods worldwide, breaking down geographical barriers, and fostering a global marketplace where even the smallest vendors can reach an international audience. My approach focuses on integrating intuitive user experiences with robust backend systems to ensure scalability, security, and user trust. That's question number 4. Hishmad further wrote, in programming, my focus would be on advocating solutions that bridge the gap between traditional web technologies and emerging blockchain ecosystems. Specifically, I'm interested in developing a gateway application that would allow non-crypto savvy users to interact with platforms like the Sandbox directly from their mobile devices. Question 5. What was your motivation for applying to be a delegate? Hishmad wrote, I was incredibly excited to learn that anyone can purchase land and develop gaming experiences on it. It sparked my imagination, and I'm passionate about showcasing Indonesian culture in innovative ways. As you can see on my website, Wayang.io. If you go to the website, you'll see Wayang talks about this is Hishmad, a software engineer with an artist's hidden soul. Join him and his delightful wife, Dewey, on a journey to explore the captivating world of Indonesian art and heritage. Hishmad is currently working at PX FinExpert Digital Solusi. And then talks a bit about shadow puppetry, where shadows dance and tales take flight. Explore the ancient art form that dances in shadows and captivates hearts. Gunungun, Wayang, Wayang. There's a question about this later on. And then there's Hishmad's Twitter, GitHub, LinkedIn, and email on his website. Okay. Hishmad further wrote for question number 5. I believe creating a virtual tour experience in the sandbox could be a fantastic way to share this rich culture with a global audience. I see myself as a delegate who can contribute to the community by bringing this unique perspective. Question 6. How did you approach voting? Hishmad's voting history showed that he had participated in the Sandbox DAO, Adidas, and WAGMI United Fan voting DAOs. For WAGMI United Fan voting DAO, voted once and voted for a person on, it looked like a competition. For Adidas, voted twice and voted for a council member and another multiple choice proposal. And for Sandbox DAO proposals, voted twice, voted 2 yeses. SIPs 14 and 15. So the question 6 was, how did you approach voting? Hishmad wrote, the concept of DAOs is a new idea, vast and incredibly diverse. So when voting, I try to narrow down my involvement to areas where I feel I can contribute meaningfully. And Hishmad noted that his expertise is in programming. All right, question 7. How did you arrive at narrowing down on the sandbox? Hishmad wrote, accessibility has always been a central concern in my approach to technology and community engagement. The platform's innovative features are promising, but a more intuitive onboarding experience could attract a wider range of users, especially those unfamiliar with Web3 concepts. Question 8. Are you involved in any other DAOs? Hishmad wrote, no. Question 9. With over... Oh, right. So when we looked at when we looked at Snapshot in Hishmad's profile, I noticed that Hishmad has been voting in DAOs for over 2 years at this point. So the question 9 follow-up was, with over 2 years of DAO voting history, what lessons or experiences do you bring with you? Hishmad wrote, experiences have taught me the value of community discussions, the role of forums, and the impact of community leaders or influencers in shaping outcomes. Hishmad further wrote, one of the most significant challenges in DAOs is voter apathy. I've learned that engagement requires constant effort. DAOs often need to incentivize participation, not just through token rewards, but through community building activities and clear communication of the impact of voting. While delegation can increase participation by allowing less engaged token holders to delegate their votes, it can also lead to centralization if not managed well. Very well said, Hishmad. Very well said. Question 10. Do you have any best practices for keeping people involved or fighting against voter apathy? Hishmad wrote, accessibility is indeed paramount. Well, while platforms like Discord are great for community interaction, they can be less user-friendly on mobile devices. That's very, very true. That's very true. Sometimes when you're on your phone on sandbox.com or sandbox.game, excuse me, the sandbox is so large and the maps are so big that it can sometimes be hard to zoom in on things. And but that's just a matter of just how large the sandbox game is, really. But if you're using the sandbox forums, you can download the Discourse app and you can connect straight to the Sandbox DAO forums, and that's how I'm able to get notifications on my phone to respond. So back to Hishmad's response. He wrote further. Integrating community or community decision-making features into widely used messages apps like Telegram or WhatsApp can significantly lower the barrier to entry. This leverages existing communication habits, making participation feel like a natural extension of daily app use. Hishmad wrote, implement a simple one-click voting system within these apps. For instance, using emoji reactions or quick polls within group chats can make voters feel less like a chore and more like a part of regular interaction. The goal is to make engagement as seamless and rewarding as possible, directly tackling voter apathy through accessibility, relevance, and community involvement. Hishmad, you are a very well-spoken individual. Question 11. From your delegate description, and Hishmad's delegate description read, I'm driven to contribute to the Sandbox community as a delegate. My goal is to bring Indonesian culture and heritage to life within the virtual world. So question 11 was, from your delegate description, what drove you to contribute? Hishmad wrote, as a landowner in the sandbox, I'm passionate about expanding the game's user base. I believe that simplifying access to the sandbox and making it more user-friendly is crucial to its growth. By becoming a delegate, I aim to actively contribute to initiatives that promote accessibility, education, and community building within the Sandbox ecosystem. Question 12. From your delegate description, what about Indonesian culture excites you to share? Hishmad wrote, I'm inspired by how cultures like Japan, Korea, and Western countries have successfully integrated cultural elements into their gaming experiences. I believe that Indonesia's rich cultural heritage, particularly Wayang puppetry, offers a unique opportunity to create captivating and immersive gaming experiences. I'm excited to share this aspect of Indonesian culture with a global audience through Sandbox. Question 13. What kind of delegate do you want to be known as? Hishmad wrote, I aspire to be known as a delegate who is recognized for pushing forward initiatives that make the sandbox more accessible, ensuring that the platform is inclusive and can be enjoyed by people from various backgrounds. I'm starting to see a trend. Hishmad is very interested in accessibility, things being open to users. Question 14. What sort of SIPs do you not support? Hishmad wrote, I do not support SIPs that hinder accessibility. There's that word again. Such as those that require complex technical knowledge or significant financial investment from users. I believe that the sandbox should strive to be inclusive and welcoming to all, regardless of their technical expertise or financial resources. Question 15. What type of SandFam voter best fits your delegation style? Hishmad wrote, I believe that landowners who are passionate about the growth and development of the sandbox would be an ideal fit for my delegation style. Question 16. What was the delegate process like for you? Hishmad wrote, transparency was key. I had to articulate my vision, intentions, and how I planned to approach my role. This involved creating a public profile or manifesto, detailing my past contributions, if any, and my plans for the future. Question 17. Does the 2 million gifted voting power change your voting perspective at all? Hishmad wrote, receiving 2 million gifted votes is undoubtedly a significant event. It increased my sense of responsibility. I must be vigilant to ensure these votes are not used in a way that could be seen as manipulative or for personal gain. Ethical voting remains a priority. 18. Have you had to sign any agreements to be a delegate? Hishmad wrote, I don't recall signing any formal agreements to become a delegate. However, I understand that there are certain expectations and guidelines for delegates, such as adhering to the Sandbox DAO's Code of Conduct. I'm committed to fulfilling its responsibilities and acting in the best interest of the community. And I covered the Code of Conduct when episode 28, Delegation has come to the Sandbox DAO. So I go over the Code of Conduct in detail there if you're interested to learn more about that. Okay, that is the final question I had for Hishmad. However, I did have an open topic, and that open topic was Hishmad frequently mentioned Wayang artwork. First of all, how do I pronounce that? Let's go to Google Translate and let's go to Indonesian, maybe Wayang. Let's try that. Oh, it means puppet. That's interesting. So here it is. Wayang means puppet. Let's see how to pronounce it.
Wayang.
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 Wayang. Okay. So Wayang. So I asked Hishmad, what is Wayang artwork? I want to know more about it. So Hishmad linked me to a website on Hishmad's website, but specifically Wayang artwork. And I asked, does Wayang artwork have a specific name? And Hishmad wrote, the specific name for the artwork would depend on the character it depicts. Here's one example, Wayang Pandu. I'd like to discuss developing a Wayang experience on the sandbox. I believe purchasing a 3x3 land plot would provide a better landscape view for the experience. So here's an example of Wayang Pandu, and it looks like a person, half dragon with snakes. Some of them have snakes, but let's take a look. Here is what that looks like. And this website here, Wayang.io. Actually, let's go to the first one, the Wayang artwork. This is where I noticed it, and I showed you all earlier on Hishmad's website. There's Wayang Pandu, Wayang Wisnu, Wayang Abhyasa, Wayang Brahma, Wayang Kakil. It looks like some of them are dragons with dragon faces, with people bodies, and just different contortions of people. And now that we know Wayang means puppet in Indonesian, so let's look at the particular website that Hishmag sent me to on his website, Wayang Pandu. And I'm just reading the website. The Tale of a Cursed King. Pandu, a central figure in Javanese. What is Javanese? Let's take a look. See if we can't get. So Javanese, the largest ethnic group in Indonesia, concentrated on the island of Java and numbering about 85 million in the earliest 21st century. The Javanese language belongs to the Austronesian Malayo-Polynesian family. Okay. Learn all sorts of stuff right now. So Pandu, a central figure in Javanese Wayang Kulit, which means shadow puppetry, in parentheses, is a story of a cursed king who, despite his flaws, embodies the ideals of kingship and dharma. That's this concept I've run across before. Dharma. And let's just... Dharma means, in common parlance, the right way of living and path of righteousness. Dharma also has connotations of order, and when combined with the word sanatana, it can also be described as eternal truth. I wrote a little bit about Dharma in my science fiction novel that I wrote. It's actually, you can see right here. This one. Underline it with my finger. But I wrote a novel that I published to Amazon and all sorts of stuff, and it combines different cultures. And one such culture was Chinese and Japanese culture, but there's the concept of Taoism and Dharma in there, and yeah, I studied it for quite a bit to write about it as part of a fiction novel, a plot. So let's keep reading on Pandu. Birth and early life. Pandu was the son of Bayasa, a revered sage, like Ambalika, the widow of Wikitrawira. I'm so sorry if I butchered that. Let's take a look. See if we can get that pronounced.
Wicitrawirya. Wicitrawirya.
Wikitrawirya. That one's hard to pronounce. So the widow of Wicitrawirya. Born with a handsome face, he bore a disfiguring mark on his neck, a consequence of his mother's averted gaze upon meeting Bayasa. The Dailongs, puppet master, elaborate on Pandu's youth, which is only briefly mentioned in Mahabharata.
Mahabharata.
For instance, he is depicted actively aiding his cousin's marriages in Mandura. So, marriages and polygamy. Pandu married Kunti after winning a contest in Mandura. He also won Madri, the princess's sister, as a prize after defeating Salya, her brother. En route, he won another princess, Gandhari, from Prasajanar, defeating her brother, Prabhu Jindara. Jindari was later married to Dhritarashtra.
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 I'm so sorry I'm
Dhritarashtra.
butchering this. Pandu's elder brother. Kingship and Gandamana. In Javanese, Wayang.
Wayang.
Wayang. In Javanese Wayang, Bayasa temporarily ruled the kingdom in Astina, also called Hastinapura, until Pandu came of age. Pandu ascended the throne of Astina, succeeding Bayasa, and was titled Prabhu Pandu Dewanata or Prabhu Gandawakstra. He ruled with Gandamana, the prince of Pankala, as his prime minister. However, Sankuni, Gandhari's brother, cunningly removed Gandanama from his position. Pandu's curse and death. Pandu's tragic flaw was his uncontrollable passion. While hunting in the forest, he accidentally shot and killed a sage who was in the form of a deer. The dying sage cursed Pandu to die the moment he embraced a woman. Pandu's dilemma and the Pandavas. Pandu, bound by the curse, renounced his kingdom and retired to the forest with his wives. Kunti, using a mantra given to her by Durvasa, bore 3 sons through the gods.
Yudhishthira.
Yudhishthira. Okay. Yudhishthira, Dharma, Bhima, Vayu, and Arjuna, Indra. Madri, using the same mantra, bore twins, Nakula, Ashvins, and Sahadeva, Ashvins. These 5 sons became known as the Pandavas. Pandu, unable to bear the thought of leaving his wives and children, embraced Madri in a moment of passion and died instantly, leaving the Pandavas orphaned and setting the stage for the epic conflict of the Mahabharata.
Mahabharata.
There we go. And that is the story of Pandu, the tale of a cursed king that Hishmad shared as one of the things of Indonesian culture that he wants to share with the Sandbox community. So there's your first foray into Indonesian culture and art. Both here is Pandu, and then there's a story, looks like, behind each of these people, cards, Wayang. So, Hishmad, thank you for sharing that. And looking forward to hearing the rest of the stories in Indonesian art and culture. And I went over this story not just because when I asked, like, what does Wayang, what does it mean? Also, as I mentioned earlier in the ecosystem, Sandbox ecosystem, there are under the purpose, the white paper talks about play, create, govern, own, but beyond that, the co-founders and leaders of the Sandbox Game company, Sebastian Bourget frequently mentions how he wants to bring culture and gaming together. He also frequently mentions how he wants Sandbox to be the cultural metaverse, the cultural capital of the metaverse. Arthur Madrid talks about how buying land and creating their own digital space and social experiences. Yatsu talks about how Sandbox continues to be a strategic initiative and how the construction of new economies and societies based on a foundation of digital property rights. What you see there, and I went over that in depth in episode 31, what you see there is a focus on culture and empowering creators, of which Hishmad is from Indonesia and articulated in the description wanted to bring Indonesian culture and heritage to life within the virtual world of the Sandbox. So this is your first foray into that Hishmad shared. So thank you, Hishmad, for doing that.
Thank you, Hishmad.
There we go. Thank you, Hishmad. And that is all the questions we had for Hishmad. We're going to end with for Sandbox Spaces. This is the Hishmad and everyone else who's listening. There are places that we gather as SandFam on Discord, the Sandbox Game Discord. There's a DAO discussion channel. There's also the Sandbox DAO forums. On Twitter, we use hashtag SandFam, hashtag the Sandbox DAO, hashtag the Sandbox Game. And in YouTube, we do at the Sandbox DAO has an official podcast. I'm about to do another episode on them, their first episode that they just released. There's also Lanzer YT, which is this channel you're watching for a SandDAO podcast. And there's also the SandFam Cafe, which is a monthly panel of different community figures hosted by Bruno, also known as Pickaxe Master. During the week, also, there are X and Twitter spaces going on. On Monday, there's the Mogoverse Hall. On Saturdays, there's Bulls on the Block. On Monday through Friday, there's Coffee with Captain. And on Tuesdays, there's Natively Digital with Whale members. So please check it out, delegates and everyone else alike. That's where SandFam will gather. And also delegates, that's where you can further articulate who you are and help everyone to get to know you. And then also ask for people to delegate to you. And today's episode 48, was about Hishmad, who is from Indonesia, wants to share the Indonesian art and culture with the Sandbox family, and is a delegate who has participated in deep background in programming. So thank you all for your time, and go SandFam. Go SandFam, go.